Hi guys, there's been a huge amount of info coming out in the last few days about various different aspects of Cold War Zombies, from how Treyarch have kind of been messing things up recently with the XP system, and then they also messed up again yesterday, but they have been trying to kind of pull it back, all the way to leaks and info about what's coming in Season 1 and even in Season 2. So today we're going to explore all of those topics and more and just get you guys up to speed on what the hell's going on. The first thing to address is where Treyarch have kind of fumbled the ball a little bit in the last week or two. The whole weapon XP kind of controversy thing was just strange because we were all here playing the game and seeing that the XP numbers were so bad, and yet despite that Treyarch came back and were like, no, there's no issue, like this is totally fine. And then when everyone was like, no, it is still actually bad, guys, then Treyarch finally addressed the fact that yes, things hadn't been working as intended, and they said that they were going to try and fix things up for us. And with all this, it's like, on the one hand, well, this is frustrating because I've put a lot of hours in getting XP for my weapons that has basically been just sort of kneecapped for no reason. But on the other hand, and this is really the stronger opinion I hold here, I do kind of get it. They haven't had an XP system that's been uniform across all modes in Zombies before, and as such, it's going to take some tuning. On top of this, purely from a player retention point of view, if you're trying to make sure that your players are still playing the game in 6 months' time, you definitely do not want to tune your numbers for just a couple of days or maybe a week or two of playtime. Treyarch are going for the long game here. They're going for something that is going to be keeping us entertained in several months to come, and so I understand the fact that it's tricky for them finding ways to keep progression slow while also keeping the players that are currently playing the game happy too. I think one thing that would actually really help, and Treyarch, this is feedback for you guys, is giving us a way to track our challenge progression in game, so I know exactly how many more headshots I need to get to the milestone that I'm looking for to finish that challenge and to get that camo and just sort of to unlock stuff. I mean, there's not really a way to do that right now in the game itself. Like when you're playing, you have to do it all in the menus, you have to try and go to your creator class to see how much weapon XP you've gained since the last time you looked, and it's just a wonky system, and I really think if there was a quicker way to sort of see that meter going up as you played and see your progress of, okay, I've nearly got all the elite kills I need to get to that next tier of the camos or whatever, it would really improve player quality of life. So fingers crossed that's coming in the future. That's in the past now though. The bigger deal currently, I think, is the fact that Season 1 has been pushed back. The date for Season 1 has been December 10th for a while, and I think we've all been looking forward to Warzone combining with Cold War, seeing what kind of crazy stuff's gonna happen there, getting to play whatever new maps and modes they have planned, and just generally getting immersed in some new content now that we've been playing the game for a couple of weeks. However, it has now been confirmed that the entire Season 1 roster of content is all getting pushed back until the 16th of December instead. The exact reasoning for this is somewhat ambiguous, but some people have been speculating that it's because Cyberpunk 2077 is also releasing on December 10th, and COD didn't want to compete with that. Other theories have said that Treyarch just weren't ready to release it yet, and Modern Warzone actually leaked from a credible source apparently that internally the multiplayer content and some of the Warzone content just needed more work, it was not ready to come out of the oven, and that's why it's been delayed. Whichever way you slice it, I think we can all agree that this is a bit surprising because Season 1 of Cold War is going to be one of the most important releases in the game's lifecycle, no doubt. But before we all grab our pitchforks, let's remember that when things aren't ready and they get released anyway, it's a much worse experience than just waiting an extra week for something that's going to be a bit better polished. I mentioned Cyberpunk a second ago. That game's been delayed about 17 million times at this point, and I still think it's going to be a great game when it does release. I've just had to be a bit more patient waiting for it. And so answering the question of am I disappointed about this is a little tricky because it's like, well, yes, because I have an insatiable hunger for content because that's just how people kind of consume games these days. But on the other hand, I totally understand. I totally get it. And I'd much rather they delay it than not in this case if it's going to be more polished and a better experience on launch. And also, I mean, let's be real as well, guys. It's 2020. Like, this has not been an easy year. And so things not quite making the right date that they originally planned for and stuff like that is just kind of par for the course. So honestly, not a huge deal, IMO. What is a big deal though is that yes, Season 1's been delayed, but no, it has not delayed any of the leaks. There is a huge amount of leaked info coming through nearly every day at this point about exactly what we're going to be seeing in Season 1 and Season 2 and beyond. And what's cool is a lot of it does really integrate with a lot of the things that the community have found most interesting in the story of D Machine and things like that. For example, there's a graphic for a character called Piotr in the game that is currently not really being used for anything that we've found so far in D Machine, machine, but he's in there, and that means that he is going to be talking to us at some point, giving us some interesting kind of voice cues about what he's up to in the Dark Ether. And what I'm really curious about is whether Treyarch are going to go down the route of bringing in new characters like Piotr and making him kind of a half new, half almost reflection version of Peter McCain from the old Ether storyline. This brings us really neatly onto one of the supposedly leaked maps that is allegedly going to be coming to Cold War Zombies next year. The map is based on Shinonuma, and for example, people have found this Doctor's Quarters sign that has clearly been remastered and put into the game in Cold War, and so if that's there, maybe there's even more that's already been worked on and remastered too, and maybe the map's more along in development than we all realize. The thing that interests me the most though is that if we are getting a kind of weird reflection of Peter McCain in this new Piotr character, then a Shinonuma remake map is going to just be so much more interesting, because that's where we originally found Peter McCain hanging from the rafters. The resolution of that character was just left a complete mystery by Treyarch. There was no mention of Peter in the ending of Tag der Toten, despite the fact that he was clearly so important. He wouldn't have been breadcrumbed in the way that he was if he wasn't going somewhere. And so returning to the site where in the previous Ether story he both died and didn't in that fractured dimension is going to be fascinating for uncovering how that previous story links to this current one and what's going on in this new world. Also, if that does happen, it should give us a better understanding of another leak that was being talked about a lot before launch, but then never actually materialized, certainly not to date at least. Nikolai's glove was allegedly going to be in D Machine somewhere, and I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen the damn thing at all. And I've done a lot of looking around on that map for like hidden stuff to make videos on, and I still haven't found it, so I don't think it's there. But maybe that's just because Treyarch decided that it would be better saved for a map where Nikolai had actually been in the previous story, so Shinonuma would be a perfect candidate, as would some of the maps that are being rumored to be coming later in the season, such as Kino der Toten or even Der Ries. Whichever way it goes, I really hope that Treyarch doesn't just lean into remakes for the entire DLC season, and that's where the leaked map Firebase Z kind of comes in and has my interest. It does seem to be based on stuff that they've done for the campaign because it's a Vietnam map that people have been talking about, but the fact that it's just not directly based on a previous map from Ether, or at least it hasn't been said that that's how it's going to work so far, is just really, really exciting. I mean, remember guys, the last fully original map that is not based on a previous Zombies map, as far as I'm aware, is Gorod Krovi from 2016. Every map since has been based on the shell of a previous map, and I would love Treyarch to break that streak and give us something totally new, even if it's related to the campaign. That's fine, because I'm not playing zombies in the campaign. Well, unless you go in that one tunnel in the campaign, but you know what I mean, guys. It would be so refreshing, and I'm really praying that Treyarch does follow through with that. The good news is that there's basically no doubt that the map is on the way at this point, because it's been mentioned in leaks before launch, it's been mentioned in leaked intel for Season 1, it's been mentioned in teasers in the game itself, it's been mentioned in intel in the game itself. It's all over the place, dude. So Vietnam, I look forward to seeing what you have to offer. Now, another thing I need to quickly mention is a question for you guys. This video has covered like several different topics because I've wanted to keep it more short and snappy. I have a tendency with a lot of my videos to dive into a topic and talk for like 25 minutes about one thing, but because people have short attention spans generally, and because of the way YouTube works, it actually makes more sense for me to do shorter videos like this sometimes, just so I can cover more different things at once and try and keep you guys watching a little bit longer. If the format was okay for you and you want to see more of it in the future, please give me some feedback in the comments down below. What you liked, what you didn't, that would be fantastic and so useful for me as I try and tune my content to be better for you. Thanks for watching though, I'll see you next time, bye for now.